Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Player injuries can hamper teams and the development of players themselves. Jonathan Kuminga was a potential star prospect, but a serious injury took him out of the NBA for a long time and he is now preparing to return to play, but he will have a lot of work ahead of him to regain a starting spot. Jonathan Kuminga is back with the Warriors. Kuminga has missed the past 31 games with a severe ankle sprain. After missing over 2 months with a severely sprained ankle, Jonathan Kuminga is expected to return to the court on Thursday against Sacramento, head coach Steve Kerr confirmed on his 95.7 The Game radio hit. Assuming he doesn't have any setbacks in the next couple of days, he should be back, Kerr said. The news was first reported by The Athletic. Kuminga, 22, is averaging a career-high 16.8 points and 5 rebounds per game this season. He suffered a grade 3 ankle sprain on January 4 and has missed 31 consecutive games since. He has been participating in full-contact scrimmages over the past couple weeks, ramping up in what has been a long, difficult recovery process. The Warriors plan to bring Kuminga off the bench and ease him into a rotation that is now humming with Jimmy Butler, the 6-time All-Star acquired at the trade deadline while Kuminga was sidelined. Golden State is 12-1 with Butler in the lineup, surging from outside the play-in to the 6th seed. Kerr has said that Butler is the perfect guy for JK to emulate because of his decision-making chops and ability to draw fouls. Multiple players, including the former Heat star, has expressed excitement about bringing Kuminga back into the fold. The video player is currently playing an ad. You can skip the ad in 5 seconds with a mouse or keyboard. I think it's going to be easy, Butler said. Hella athletic. Can shoot it, can score in a multiple ways. And can guard. Can definitely guard. So I think he's going to come back and do what he's doing. My job is to just make it easier on him. So, come on back and help us get some dubs. Reintegrating Kuminga back into the lineup projects to be the most interesting, and possibly delicate, dynamic for the Warriors' last 17 games. Kuminga was thriving in a featured role before his injury, consistently playing upwards of 30 minutes and often having the ball in his hands as a playmaker. He racked up double-digit points in 17 straight games, including 3 30-point games, while making a consistent impact defensively and on the boards. Kerr has repeatedly called the run-up to Kuminga's ankle sprain the best stretch of his NBA career. Now, he'll have to acclimate himself into a different environment. Kerr has said he has had multiple conversations with the fourth-year wing recently about what he expects from him. We're going to run through Jimmy Butler, and we're going to run through Steph Curry, Kerr said on 95.7 The Game. So what that requires of JK is to be settling into a role to support those guys, and that's slightly different, and that's just something that he has to adapt to. As impressive as the Warriors have been since the All-Star break, they'll need the best version of Kuminga to impact winning in order to vault into true title contention with Oklahoma City, Boston, and Cleveland. One possible complicating factor is Kuminga's contract status, because he and the team failed to reach an agreement on a contract extension before the season began. He's set to become a restricted free agent this summer. That means the Warriors will have the ability to match any offer sheet he may receive or, the more unlikely option, let him walk. The main thing I want for JK is to not press when he comes back, Kerr said this month. It's not an easy spot to come back into where teams rolling contract stuff this summer. He's going to have a lot on his mind. I want to make things as smooth and easy as possible. I want him to understand that it's not going to happen right away. He was playing the best basketball of his career before the injury, and it's not going to happen the first night where he's going to get back to that level. It will take a little time. Warriors have another Buddy Hield problem that proves he can't be trusted. Buddy poured in 20 points on Monday, but does that further showcase a big issue? Buddy Hield was a key contributor for the Golden State Warriors at Chase Center on Monday, bouncing back to some form and finding his shooting stroke during a 130-120 victory over the Portland Trail Blazers. The veteran sharpshooter combined with Gary Payton II to deliver 46 points off the Warrior bench, with Hield going for 20 points on an efficient 7 of 10 shooting from the floor and 6 of 9 from three-point range. Buddy Hield continues to shine against lesser opposition. The 32-year-old entered on the back of two poor games against the Brooklyn Nets and Detroit Pistons, having scored just 8 combined points on 3 of 15 shooting from the floor and 1 of 10 from beyond the arc. Hield's 23 minutes against the Nets were particularly poor. He missed all 8 of his shots including all 5 of his threes, finishing as a -11 as the Warriors overcame that individually poor performance to record a 2-point win. It was good to see Hield bounce back and find some rhythm against the Trailblazers. Golden State certainly needed his scoring output, having given up 43 points in the third quarter as 66 combined from Denny Avdija, 34, and Anthony Simons, 32, thread a Portland comeback victory. At the same time, it's another example of Hield taking advantage against lesser opposition. Monday's outing was the 10th time he's reached 20 points this season, with 8 of those now coming against teams who would not be making the playoffs if they started today. Furthermore, 7 of Hield's 20-point games have come against opponents that are currently bottom 4 in their respective conference. While it's not necessarily surprising for role players to perform better against lesser opposition, Hield's numbers are probably a little too skewed and represent a problem for the Warriors as they push towards the playoffs. Given his inability to provide big scoring outbursts against the better teams, what kind of trust can Steve Kerr have in Hield once the playoffs roll around? There's little doubt Warrior fans will be nervous, assuming they do reach the postseason amid a 12-2 surge over the past 14 games. Hield has averaged 23.3 minutes per game so far this season. It's difficult to see him getting anywhere near that playing time during the playoffs, particularly as Golden State prepare to welcome back Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski, which will give them up to 11 players who warrant minutes in the rotation. At the same time, no one outside Stephen Curry possesses the shooting threat that Hield does. The Warriors will desperately need that at certain points, and it will therefore be interesting to see how his minutes fluctuate over the remainder of the season. Anonymous scout reveals why no one wants to meet the Warriors in the playoffs. The Warriors could be in for a deep run this year. Following a narrow 115-110 victory against the Detroit Pistons on Saturday night, the Golden State Warriors now sit at 36-28 and the 6th seed in the Western Conference standings. They are currently only 3 wins behind the Houston Rockets for the 5th seed, and, having won 9 of their last 10 games, Golden State continues to improve upon the middling success they had for much of the season. While there is still traffic below them in the standings, with the Minnesota Timberwolves riding a 4-game winning streak and sitting only half a game back, the Warriors look to be in solid position to jockey for a bona fide playoff berth as they enter the final stretch of the season. Assuming they finish as the 5th or 6th seed in the West, the Warriors could be headed for a second-round meeting with the Oklahoma City Thunder, Los Angeles Lakers or Denver Nuggets in the second round were they to advance. With their recently renewed vigor and ongoing hot stretch, one anonymous NBA scout has remarked about how these teams might be dreading a potential encounter with Golden State in the playoffs. Teams might try to duck the Warriors in the playoffs. As reported by ESPN's Brian Windhorst and Tim Bontemps of ESPN, an anonymous NBA scout believes that the Warriors might be an especially dangerous team come playoff time. No one will want to play them in the playoffs. Jimmy with fresh legs and motivation, honeymoon phase Jimmy is a motherfucker, the scout said. A large part of the remarkable turnaround of Golden State's season can be attributed to the trade deadline acquisition of Butler, who is averaging 17.8 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 5.3 assists since joining the team. His ability to drive to the rim and draw contact has helped open up the Warriors' offense, with shooting dynamo Stephen Curry and youngster Brandon Podziemski having both seen major upticks in their production since Butler's arrival. When healthy and motivated, Butler also brings an element of intensity during the playoffs that, when paired with the defensive acumen of Draymond Green and the clutch genes of Curry, could make Golden State a serious threat. Across his career, Butler averages 21.3 points through 119 playoff games, having led the Miami Heat to unlikely runs to the NBA Finals twice during his 5-year tenure in South Beach. Curry, meanwhile, averages 27 points across 147 career playoff games. With the impending return of Jonathan Kuminga, who has the potential to jumpstart the Warriors' bench unit, the team's combination of skill, intensity, and depth could be a major problem for the young teams in the Western Conference looking to make a deep playoff run. Absurd Stephen Curry statistic proving how valuable Jimmy Butler trade was. There was a point in the 2024-25 NBA season where media everywhere were looking at Stephen Curry and ready to raise concerns over how much the Golden State Warriors superstar had declined. In truth, Curry just needed better help. There were two sides of the argument. One side of the debate insisted that Curry's best days were behind him. The other side was convinced the issue lied within the supporting cast. The latter is proving more truthful. Curry looked exhausted at several points throughout the 2024-25 season, trying to carry a lackluster offense. His scoring average hit a low that had not been seen for several seasons. The Warriors superstar was also tasked with a lot more on-ball responsibility than he had known during his best years. Which, in turn, also made it a lot easier for defenses to hone in on guarding and doubling him. After being reluctant to make a move all year, the Warriors finally found the right one when they traded for Jimmy Butler, acquiring the disgruntled star from the Miami Heat. Butler has been exactly what the doctor ordered in Golden State. The six-time All-Star has alleviated a lot of pressure from Curry. Butler has also helped cut the turnovers down for the Warriors and bring a new wave of confidence to that team and locker room. One of the easiest ways to see the positive effects from the Butler addition are to look at this one key statistic for Curry. According to StatMamba on Twitter/X, Steph is the most efficient 25-plus points per game scorer since the All-Star break. Curry has delivered 29.5 points per game while posting a ridiculous true shooting percentage of 71. So much for the narratives calling him washed. Related, Stephen Curry makes unique decision, takes job with Davidson amid Warriors' strong form. The Warriors have surged up the standings after the Butler trade. They are currently occupying the 6th seed in the Western Conference, a massive boost for a team once hovering around the back of the play-in standings. Whether Golden State can compete for a championship this season remains to be seen, but they are certainly much closer to doing so since the addition of Butler.